So empathy is to co-experience someone's feelings. It is to be relatable. Nurture is to care for, encourage, and support. I want you to hold those two really close to you right now and as you go forward and on the other side of what we're experiencing here, both personally and professionally. The third piece that I want you to keep really close, I'll talk about at the end here, is amnesia. Good morning, everyone. It is John Cheplack coming to you kind of late, I guess, based on when I'm out and about, 7-ish, I think. A little break in my calls. And I want to support you as I always do, whether it's now and, the one theme, and it's really a principle based, is, things have changed, but so much is really the same. And that's always life. It's always how it is. And, it's very interesting for me to watch and observe. Naturally there's fear, naturally there's uncertainty, and those things can paralyze people. And then there's a level of where people experience it, and I'm respecting where everyone is at in the process, but then there's this thing where, okay, great, the kitchen's on fire. I can choose to stand in the kitchen as the house burns down around me, or I can do something about it. And part of doing something about it is being an acceptance. So then the next step is, okay, I have an acceptance, but now what do I do? Well, here's the discovery that's taking place. And it's so interesting to watch and observe. First of all, as conversations come in, what do I do? What do I say? And I'll tell you, it is because we got away from the ultimate piece that matters, and it's human relationship. We've always talked about community. We've talked about relationship, and yet the dialogues, the interactions, the communications to accomplish a goal, to make money is so far away of what creates not only a great experience right now, but an experience that endures. One of the things that I've found that takes place in business, and I'd ask you to look at it yourself personally. If you've been in the business 5 years, you've been in the business 10 years, maybe 20 years, are you having to work as hard today to make the same amount of money that you made 10 years ago? And if that's the situation, there's a problem, because you're tilted in sales. You're not tilted in relationship. And then underneath looking at relationship and looking at community, it's those two critical things. It is empathy, co-experiencing something with the people that you're walking alongside, being relatable. It's one of the foundational principles, if you really look at whether it's marketing or sales, but it's a principle in human interaction. And so the people that are struggling outside, because there's two economies. There are two economies. There's the circumstance that we have no control over, and there's the financial situations that surround us that we have no control over. But then there's my economy, and there's your economy, the thing that we have control over, and that's our actions. A lot of people I'm watching and observing, and I'm watching, some of the coaches do it too. It's interesting to hear the tune change. The tune never had to change. The tune was always the same. We were always dealing with human beings. We were always dealing with an emotional experience. We were always dealing with people that choose out of emotion and justify with the mind. But we've resorted to constantly, over and over and over again, the 10X. Well, and again, unfortunately, we see what's happening. Everyone gets impacted, but I can tell you this. Over the last 4 weeks, the people I've interacted with, and let me give you some proof. Let me share with you what comes in. And I've shared this before, but the reason you need to hear it, because there's so many years of tape recordings that are going on in most people's head because the way they've been trained to interact, okay? Nurture, again, and people need to hear this over and over and over again. You've got to create new tape recordings over your old ones, okay? Because your old ones aren't working right now. They aren't. Let me know how the objection handlers are working. Let me know how your salesy scripts are working right now. No. They're not going to work, okay? And what I want to talk to you about too is with amnesia. See, the unfortunate thing for many folks is kind of like 08, 09. There's many people that right now are sitting and went through 08, 09, and They got amnesia. They're sitting in a tough spot today because they forgot, okay? There are people right now that are going to go through this experience. They're going to acquire some new skill sets, or maybe just go back to the foundational principles of human interaction that include nurturing the right way, that include empathy, co-experiencing something with someone so that you're relatable. Those things may get them through it. They build a bridge from where they're at in this moment to where they want to be. Maybe it's just getting through it. But amnesia will take over. That amnesia will take over just like the amnesia that took over for the people that went through 08, 09 and are stuck again right now because they didn't learn the lesson. It was, okay, let me just kind of get through this for this moment instead of really taking the time to step back. You know, the thing that's most important that I would say to anyone that's in business right now is, you know, and again, do what works for you. I'll just give you my suggestions, is that people are rushing to, I need to learn more on this skill. I need more on that skill. You know what I would do? I would do as a mentor taught me many, many years ago. I would abandon all the business learning that you need to do. You know what I would focus on? All the human experience learning, all the human behavior learning that you need to do, all the interpersonal growth that you need to do. Because you can't understand people until you understand yourself at the deepest of levels. You can't go to a true, genuine space of empathy, okay? You can't truly nurture a human being until you can nurture yourself. Let me say that again. You can't truly nurture a human being. You can't nurture a relationship. And I'm talking business and personal until you've learned to nurture yourself. You know, it's very interesting, the people that get up, and I'm not talking about go do some P90X or some CrossFit thing, you know, crazy wild workout. I'm talking about people that wake up and say, I'm going to give myself the best chance to win. I'm going to nurture myself. I'm going to nurture my spirit, my soul, my mind, and my body. I'm going to nurture my spirit, my soul, my mind, my body. And so that I give myself the best chance to win, because if we miss at any point in time, if we miss on any of those things, there's going to be a gap as we interact with other people who actually need the nurturing in their spirit and their mind right now, whether in your personal relationships or your business relationships. I don't think the best business person is going to get through this, as a matter of fact, in a good way. Listen, we're all going to get through it in some way. You know, like I say, God only knows and he ain't telling. But I can tell you this, I can say that it's going to be the people that really, you know, focus on the simple to get through the complex. It's the people that do the next right thing right for themselves first and then others. There's this mistake. And part of the mistake in serving others too, and I don't mean serving, but going out, I'm going to help this person, I'm going to do that person right, and all these things I'm going to do for everyone else. And it's really, really good. And I think it's super important. But I think that a lot of times what it is, it's avoidance too. What we need to do is we need to discern. Am I taking steps outside of me for other people to avoid the things I need to work on with myself? Pretty interesting, isn't it? Actually helping people in many cases, if we're not helping ourselves, if we're not in the best place we could be in, we're actually in avoidance of the things that we need to work on with ourselves. And, you know, I always like to express to you, I share these things because it's the journey that I've been on for 11 and a half years. It's the journey I'm on alongside you. I'm making mistakes every day. I'm going to continue to make mistakes, but I'm going to make less mistakes. I think the critical piece is being able to have that moment and really look at, you know, don't look at the way that you're interacting with your people today, because I know it works. You want to know how I know it works? That's 1,500 text responses from a mass text message from one of my clients. That right there, after I did a webinar telling people how to interact with people, how to nurture and encourage and abandon your sales dialogues, within 30 minutes after that Zoom, 8 text messages start coming in. Oh my gosh, I just said what John shared to say. And it's not just about what to say. See, here's the other thing I want you to recognize too, not only for these times, because what I'm sharing with you not is how to just get through these times, but how to live and how to do business in a way that's going to really serve you, serve the people around you, and be able to endure. See, life can have these roller coasters, and believe me, mine was a roller coaster. It was a series of misadventures. Hey, I've got all kinds of things going on personally right now. All kinds of things business. And I will tomorrow, I will on the other side of this. But what makes it have a steadiness to it is really staying in these foundational principles. Do you have that? And I think the most important thing I want to encourage you to do is we can talk about empathy. Do you understand what empathy is? Okay. And I want to say that it's co-experiencing something with someone. Okay. Understanding so that they feel that you're with them. All right. So they don't feel alone. When people are, what you need to know is right now there is an emotion of uncertainty. Uncertainty, really there's only two emotions, as I share all the time, is there's fear. And underneath fear is uncertainty is one of those things. Anger is based in fear. And so what's interesting is we're, as a professional, whether you're a leader or you're a real estate agent or just anything you do, many of us support people in making a decision. We counsel them. Well, all the real estate training that you got before was manipulate them. Why lie? It's true. Go read through some of the stuff that you've been saying that you can't say right now to people because they'd blast you. I've got people that have used those language patterns that have been taught to people for years that had really, really good numbers and are now coming back and saying, how come we haven't been doing this all along? You mean just like really, truly caring for someone and not being attached to the outcome and attached to the process? That's what's very interesting as you look at it. Wait, use this sales dialogue, but hold on to this principle. No, the principles have to be congruent and the behavior has to be congruent. And the dollars you spend and the energy that you exhaust to get a result, personally and professionally, will go down dramatically. That's that difference between going wide and being diluted versus deep. And that ultimately what it creates in business is 5 years, 10 years later. And I work with people that get results. I see the results coming in from March for people. I hear the results that are happening for people. And I can tell you this, the number one thing that they worked on wasn't their KPIs, and it wasn't how they're going to grind, how they're going to 10X. It was, how can I take a look at myself first? See, it's real easy to learn and know, but then what you have to do is then there's the how-to, and not only then just having it be motions, it has to be a part of you. And so you've got to constantly do that work. So, I've got the results here. They keep coming in. There's another result that I have too I want to share with leaders, for you leaders out there. And listen, I come with empathy and understanding too, but that's why I keep putting this message out there. And it's the same message, and it will always be. And it's what I was taught. And the reason I need to be is because so much of the wrong message has been piped into real estate agents. And so much of the wrong message has been piped into leaders that go out there and recruit. I've got one right here that these are random messages from top agents, from top teams that say things like, let's see, my broker so much that I took the initiative to put a Zoom call together finally this week because my broker hasn't done a thing. I got such a good response from agents that wanted to do this. In times like this, you really see the character of someone. Unfortunately, I will now have to be moving offices. That's a top team. And that's going to impact. See, what's interesting, it's going to impact that business. And when a business gets impacted, it impacts the lives of all the people in that business. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So, and if that leader would have just been reaching out, operating a space of nurture, okay, supporting people, caring for them, encouraging them, but they can't. And I understand, because what they're not doing is caring for themselves. They're not supporting themselves. They're not giving themselves the best chance to win. And that's a leader. And you look at agents. Agents are leaders too. You're leaders in the community at a massive level. Think of the impact that you have. You're working with someone in a choice that's going to impact their children, and a choice that's going to impact other neighbors when they move in the neighborhood, and the choice that is going to really change the path of their life in some way, shape, or form. So we're all truly leaders. We're leaders in our families, and that's not a male-female thing. There are different roles that each plays in that. And part of leading, though, the most critical part of leading is we can't lead people from a place of substance. And the reason for substance is substance endures, is if we're not leading ourselves. So I just want to encourage you to reach out to people. It's uncomfortable for many, because when we go to a personal level with people, it will call up our own personal stuff, which is actually good, because then we've got to look at it. That's the true psychology behind it. I think a lot of people prior to that were uncomfortable with some of the sales dialogues and things like that is because it wasn't congruent with what their values were. That's pretty neat. I don't know if people were lazy or not committed or things like that. And I talk about commitment, but I also understand there's a segment of the population too that just didn't feel comfortable with the way that we've been taught to interact with people. And yet I've watched others that have stayed true to themselves, come in the business, not have great sales skills. And people just wonder, how do they do it? They don't do all the, taught stuff, the 10X stuff. They just treat people really good. Well, they understand empathy. They understand empathy. They understand what truly nurturing someone is. But most importantly, they understand that we've got to take care of ourselves. See, I'm going to leave you with this principle: self-serving, not self-centered. You must be self-serving. And now more than ever, because if you're not self-serving and looking at taking care of yourself in every aspect of your body, your being, and I'm not saying be some elite athlete or the perfect nutrition person or a spiritual guru or a scholar. I'm talking about just striving to be a little bit better. And then number two, then going out and sharing that with someone today. I think that we get so close to money, and believe me, I've been there. But I think that money is a product of what we control, is our actions. You can't control the money. You can't. You got no control of the money. You got control. You're watching this happen right now. What we have control over is our behavior. What we have control over is our personal growth. What we have control over is that ability to sit with ourselves right now and notice what's coming forward, notice what's coming up. The feelings that we're having showing up right now, well, it's just normal because I'm in isolation. Well, okay. You can look at it that way. That's blowing things off. That's the person that's just going to get through it, grind through it. They're going to get amnesia and they go back to their old habits. And I'm not saying their old habits aren't good. Maybe that's fine. But I think that I know that where I'm living my life today, there's still a better way. God, my goodness, if there's not a better way from what I'm doing right now, how boring would that be, right? We're growing or we're dying. We've heard that one a million times. So I hope you take advantage of that. I hope that you really just come back and take a look at, regardless of where your market's at, your business is at, personal relationships are at, if you can look at these two things, you can outsell the world. You want to outsell the world? You want to be a badass? Awesome. Do a lot of real deep work on yourself. Focus on empathy, co-experiencing things with people. Believe me, I've got to bring myself down constantly. We've been talking about this forever. If you come to any of mine, and I got no pitches going on here. You come to any of my mastermind, I'm talking to, there's many people that are watching this. The people that I work with that go on stage. They're a guru, they're the lead person. They're the marketer. One of the best marketers in the real estate industry that's recognized for that, Chris Lindahl. People think that's his skill set. I just spit on the camera. It's not his skill set. That's something he does pretty good. The guy is a human relationship fanatic. And he's not only studies it and obsessed with it, he strives to be better himself and be the first to tell you every day he knows he can do better. The people, I could list names of many teams. I look at a Lori Reeder, I look at a DJ Lindsay, a Justin Haver, Deborah Beagle, Sarah Kelke, a friend of mine, Brittany Pina. You look at these people. I'm sorry if I left people out, but I can tell you, anyone that I've worked with, they're obsessed with this work. They're great salespeople, but if you get underneath it, see, they've been willing to, and not as a result of me, because of their choices and their recognition, their awakening, and they do really, really well. The money is a product of how we nurture ourselves. Money is a product of how we nurture other people and then co-experience things with them. So I hope that I know many have been forced into this. It's a little bit awkward right now. But I hope that you don't get amnesia like the people in 08, 09 who got amnesia on having reserves and being responsible with your money. I hope that you're the person that really captures this, because I've shown you the results. I've seen the coronavirus objection handler. Those people end up having to call me because that shit don't work. And then I've seen the results that empathy and encouragement get for people. And it really feels a lot better too. And you know what, the last thing I've learned, I'm gonna share with you. You know, when I'm not feeling good, I don't perform well. When I feel good, I perform at a high level. I want all of you to perform at a high level. Much love, have an awesome day.